Juan Ayuso is the rider everyone's talking about. And to understand why the expectations around him are so high, I watched all of his races as a professional. From his early days at UAE, through the Vuelta, to his rise in the Spring Classics. I also dug into his past. His childhood between Barcelona and Javea, his junior domination, his breakthrough at just 19. By the end of this video, you'll know why Ayuso is considered Spain's next great hope, why he gets compared to Pogacar, why he's different, and why he might be the one who changes everything. This is BikeFlix, and like always, we begin at the beginning. Juan Ayuso was born on September 16, 2002, in Barcelona, Spain, a country that breathes cycling and worships its climbing heroes. At age 10, he was already racing with riders twice his age. Not because he was faster, but because he was smarter. He studied them, read their movements, learned how to suffer. From the start, Ayuso didn't ride like a kid. He rode like a professional, clean, controlled, and always thinking. His favourite rider? Not Contador, not Valverde. It was Fabian Cancellara, a master of power and precision. Ayuso admired his style, his dominance in time trials, and the way he controlled races without showing emotion. That says a lot about who Ayuso is, because while others his age wanted to attack, Ayuso wanted to understand. He wanted to know how to win. His parents, both passionate about sport but not cyclists themselves, supported his obsession. They saw he was different. He trained every day, even when he was sick. When it rained, he didn't stop. He smiled. By 15, he was already dominating regional races. By 17, he was unbeatable in Spain. And then he crossed the border and made Europe take notice. 2020 was the year everything changed. Juan Ayuso was 17, a junior, but he was riding like a pro. He didn't just win, he destroyed. That year, he won everything. The Vuelta a Talavera, the Bizkaiko Itzulia, the Giro di Basilicata, the Trofeo Buffoni, and the big one, the Giro della Lunigiana, Italy's most prestigious junior stage race. He didn't just win the general classification, he won multiple stages, the points jersey, the mountains jersey. Ayuso wasn't just the best climber or the best sprinter, he was the best, full stop. What stood out most wasn't just how many races he won, it was how he won them. Calm, without wasting energy. He always seemed to know when to attack, and when he did, nobody could follow. That summer, scouts from every World Tour team were watching him. They all saw the same thing, a rider with no weakness. But only one team moved quickly, United Arab Emirates, Team Emirates. They offered Ayuso a professional contract, not for their development squad, for the main team, at 17 years old. People were shocked. No Spanish rider had ever signed a World Tour contract that early. Even talents like Contador and Valverde had to prove themselves for years. Ayuso skipped the line. He accepted the deal. In 2021, while most kids his age were still finishing high school, Ayuso was already a World Tour rider. But before he joined Pogacar and the UAE superstars, he was sent to Italy, to the development team Colpac Ballon, to get a few more races in his legs. What happened next convinced everyone he was ready. In the Giro Ciclistico d'Italia, the U23 Giro, Ayuso did what he always does. He won 3 stage victories, the points jersey, the best young rider jersey, and of course the overall title. At 18 years old, he made one of the hardest U23 races in the world look easy. That was enough. UAE pulled him into the senior squad halfway through the year. Ayuso was done with development. His next races would be against the best cyclists on earth. In 2022, Juan Ayuso lined up at his first Grand Tour, La Vuelta a España. He was 19. He wasn't supposed to lead. United Arab Emirates had stronger riders, more experienced riders. Ayuso's job was to learn, to help, to survive. But on the first mountain stages, something strange happened. Ayuso didn't crack. He didn't fade. He climbed with the best. And then he started dropping riders. Big names. Experienced names. Riders who had podiumed Grand Tours. He didn't just survive, he thrived. Stage after stage, Ayuso stayed with the elite. Remco Evenepoel, Enric Mas, Primož Roglic. Ayuso was there. He didn't win a stage, but he never needed to. What mattered was consistency. And every day, Ayuso rode with control, with purpose. On climbs, he was efficient. In time trials, he was solid. In descents, he was fearless. By Madrid, he had finished third overall, at 19. He was the youngest rider on the podium of a Grand Tour in over 100 years. Not since 1904 had someone so young stood so tall at the end of a 3-week race. Spain went crazy. The media called him the next Contador. Fans called him the anti-Pogačar. Quiet, serious, calculating. A new kind of talent. But Ayuso said nothing. He thanked the team, thanked the staff, and went back to training. That's what makes him different. He doesn't chase hype. He doesn't chase headlines. He chases results. After finishing third in the Vuelta at just 19, people expected the world from Juan Ayuso. And maybe that was the problem. 2023 was supposed to be his breakout year. UAE had huge plans for him. A full spring calendar. The Tour de France in the summer. Maybe even a leadership role. But then, his body pushed back. Early in the year, Ayuso started experiencing pain in his left leg. Something muscular. The team called it a minor issue. But weeks passed. Then months. By the time spring arrived, he still hadn't raced. No Tirreno Adriatico. No Volta a Catalunya. No Basque country. His entire preparation was gone. The fans started to worry. Was it serious? Was he burnt out? Ayuso stayed quiet. He trained indoors. He watched races on TV. He waited. Finally, in May, he returned. The race was the Tour de Romandie. His condition? Uncertain. But Ayuso didn't care. He attacked. He followed moves. He even challenged for the podium. His return was raw, but it was promising. And with each race, his legs got sharper. His instincts returned. He skipped the Giro, focused on altitude training, eyes on the big one, the Tour de France. It would be his debut. Ayuso came into the 2024 Tour de France as UAE's second option behind Tadej Pogačar. Nobody expected him to lead, but everyone wanted to see what he could do. The first week went well. He stayed safe, stayed near the front, no crashes, no mistakes. In the Pyrenees, he showed his form. In the time trial, he finished close to the best. Then, suddenly, it ended. After stage 9, Ayuso tested positive for COVID-19. He was out. No warning, no symptoms, just a test result. His first tour was over before it had begun. Ayuso was devastated. His team was stunned. In interviews, he held back emotion, but the pain was obvious. He had worked for months, suffered through injuries, trained like a machine, and now all of it was gone, with one positive test. Many young riders would have collapsed under that kind of disappointment. Ayuso didn't. He went home. He rested. And he started again. By August, he was back at altitude, grinding in the Sierra Nevada. While the world watched the tour, Ayuso was already thinking about 2025. And that's when everything changed. 2025 didn't begin with fireworks. Ayuso entered the new season quietly. No interviews, no big headlines. But from the first race, it was clear. He had changed. He wasn't just stronger, he was smarter, sharper, more aggressive, but only when it mattered. In February, he won the Fon Ardèche Classic in France, a tough one-day race with brutal climbs and elite rivals. Ayuso waited, watched, then attacked at the perfect moment. He crossed the line solo, no one could follow. A week later, he did it again. this time in the Fawn Drome Classic. Different route, same result. Controlled all day, attacked late, victory. But he wasn't done. Next, the Trofeo Laigeglia in Italy. Another classic, another win, 3 races, 3 victories, 3 statements. Ayuso wasn't warming up anymore. He was dominating. Then came the big one, Tirreno Adriatico, a week-long World Tour stage race. One of the toughest on the calendar. Riders like Vingegaard, Roglic and Evenepoel had won it before. Now it was Ayuso's turn. He stayed quiet the first few days, stayed in the pack, saved energy, watched every move. Then came the Queen stage, the hardest of them all. A summit finish to Frontignano. With 3.5 kilometers to go, Ayuso attacked. He didn't look back. One by one, the favourites cracked. Ayuso surged ahead. His face didn't move. His legs didn't slow. He crossed the finish line with a clean gap and took the race lead. From that point, it was over. He controlled the final stages with ease. No panic, no mistakes. At 22 years old, Juan Ayuso had won Tirreno Adriatico, his biggest victory yet. 3 weeks later, he made it even bigger. He took the overall title at the Itzulia Basque Country, one of the most technical stage races in Europe. Narrow roads, short climbs, constant attacks. Ayuso didn't blink. By April, he had 5 wins and 2 GC titles, all against elite competition, all with the same style. He was no longer the future. He was the present. By now, everyone had a theory about Juan Ayuso. Some said he was the next Contador, the Spanish climber who would bring back the glory years. Others said he was closer to Evenepoel, an all-rounder who could do anything. But Ayuso didn't copy anyone. He created his own style. He's not explosive like Pogacar, not robotic like Vingegaard, not unpredictable like Evenepoel. He's precise. He knows his numbers, knows his zones. He rides on the edge of his limit, but never over it. While others burn matches, Ayuso calculates. And that's what makes him dangerous. In 2025, fans started noticing something else. He was getting better at everything. His time trial numbers were improving. His descending had become smoother. His ability to read a race, elite. He didn't need a big team around him. He didn't need 5 riders pulling him up the mountain. He just needed one moment. And when it came, he never missed. The cycling media began asking a new question. Is Ayuso the most complete young rider in the world? Maybe. Remco has raw power. Pogacar has talent and flair. But Ayuso has something else. Control. He doesn't need to show off. He doesn't need to win every stage. He just needs to finish in front when it counts. And more often than not, he does. You've seen Juan Ayuso race. You've seen him climb, attack, win. But who is he really? That's the mystery. Ayuso doesn't post much. He rarely gives long interviews. When he does, his answers are short, thoughtful, measured. No drama, no arrogance, no wild predictions. He trains hard, sleeps early, eats clean, obsessively clean. His coach says he's obsessed with efficiency. Every watt, every gram, every detail. He doesn't party, doesn't chase fame. He doesn't need to. Ayuso once said, "I'm not here to be a star. I'm here to win races." That's his entire mindset. While others talk about glory, Ayuso talks about plans. He watches other riders, studies power files, studies weather patterns. He even checks wind direction before long climbs. His training rides aren't flashy either. 4 to 5 hours, zone 2, precision over punishment. Even his style reflects it. No flashy socks, no special bikes, just the same calm focus, on and off the road. His teammates say he's quiet, but competitive. He jokes, he listens, and when the race gets hard, he speaks. Not with words, with legs. In 2024, Juan Ayuso was selected to represent Spain in the Olympic Games in Paris. It would have been his first. But just before the final roster was confirmed, his team, UAE Team Emirates, decided not to release him. Too much risk. Too close to the Vuelta. Ayuso was disappointed. He didn't complain publicly, but he felt it. For a Spanish rider, the Olympics mean everything. He watched the road race on TV. Then he went out and trained. That's who he is. He'll get another chance. Los Angeles 2028, maybe even the World Championships in between. And when he does, he'll be better prepared. He'll be stronger, and the field will know it. So, where does Juan Ayuso go from here? He's already won week-long races, already stood on a Grand Tour podium, already beaten World Tour elites, and he's only 22. His Tour de France debut was cut short. But his next one? It won't be quiet. The Vuelta will always feel like home. But the yellow jersey? That's the dream. And maybe, just maybe, it's realistic. Because Ayuso doesn't race like a dreamer. He races like an architect. Every move has purpose. Every win, a blueprint. And that's why teams fear him. He's not just talented, he's terrifyingly consistent. He doesn't waste energy. He doesn't crack under pressure. And he always gets better. Every year, every race, every stage. He may not smile at the camera. He may not raise his arms until the line, but he wins. And in cycling, that's all that matters. Juan Ayuso isn't the next Contador. He isn't Spain's next hope. He's Spain's now. A new generation is coming. And at the front of it is a quiet kid from a small Spanish town, Javea, where he has lived since 2010, with numbers no one understands and legs that don't slow down. He doesn't need to talk. He lets the mountains speak for him.